First and foremost, Kalalal Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth and who lead as examples to the flock. Peace and salutations to my fellow laborers, working for that penny a day, and to the believers, the men, women, and children who make up the large multitude. Shalom. This lesson is going to be entitled Color Psychology and the quote unquote white man. Color Psychology and the quote unquote white man. Now, this is something that, I learned, early on coming in this truth, and it's something that we've brought up many times, over the course of the years that we've been in the truth. Myself, brothers in these camps in Jamaica, brothers in the camps worldwide, bringing out the psychology, or the psychological effects of the color white, on people, and why it is significant, that this man has chosen to label himself as the white man. All right. So without further ado, let's get into it. So this says white is one of the most psychologically loaded colors precisely because it means something different depending on where you are in the world and what you bring to the experience of seeing it. So we're going to focus more on the Western context. It says in Western context, white is most strongly associated with purity, cleanliness, and new beginnings, which is why it dominates weddings, hospitals, and minimalist design. It signals an absence of contamination, literally and symbolically. Bridal white, surgical white, the blank page all carry the idea of being unspoiled and ready. Right? Psychologically, white tends to produce few consistent effects. It creates a sense of space and openness. Rooms painted white feel larger. It also evokes mental clarity and simplicity, which is why it's so dominant in tech product design, Apple being the most canonical example. It can feel calming, but in excess, it tips into sterility, coldness, or even anxiety, right? So it says white and authority or truthfulness have an interesting relationship too. White coats make doctors seem more credible and competent. White is associated with honesty and transparency in many cultures, which is why white lies are considered the benign kind, meaning it's not harmful, right? There's also the concept of white as a psychological blank slate. Marketers use it to signal that a product is premium or minimal, inviting the viewer to project their own meaning onto it. Right? So then I wanted to dig deeper to say, could this psychology also affect how quote unquote white people are perceived? Yes, absolutely. And this is exactly a well documented area of this is actually a well documented area of research sitting at the intersection of color psychology, racial perception, and social cognition. The association of whiteness with purity, cleanliness, and goodness and innocence has been shown to influence how white-skinned people are perceived and how white people perceive themselves. Right? A few key threads. The implicit association effect. The famous implicit association effect developed by researchers like Mazarin Banaji consistently shows that many people, including people of color, have unconscious positive associations with white and negative associations with black, which maps onto racial perception. Whether this is driven by color psychology, cultural conditioning, or both is debated, but the effect is real and measurable. Innocence and criminality. Studies have shown that white defendants are more readily perceived as innocent or redeemable, while black defendants are more readily perceived as dangerous or guilty, partly because the symbolic associations of their skin color prime observers before any facts are considered. The psychologist Jennifer Eberhardt's research particularly striking here. The white equal default phenomenon. In many Western contexts, white has historically been treated as the neutral universal baseline. In casting, in medicine, in product design, which mirrors how white space function in visual design. Some research suggests white people may unconsciously internalize associations of purity and moral goodness tied to their skin color, which can subtly inflate in-group favorability. Right. So not only do other people, right, subconsciously view white people as pure, innocent, and good, right, but they themselves also subconsciously view themselves as pure, as being moral, right? So it's worth being clear that these effects are products of cultural and historical construction, centuries of imagery, language, and power structures. So then I went on to ask the question: when was the label of white first placed on Caucasians? Right? The use of white as a racial category is surprisingly recent and largely arbitrary when you trace its history. Before the 17th century, European people identify themselves by nationality, which is your actual lineage, right? Religion or ethnicity, which ethnicity and nationality is the same thing. English, French, Christian, and so on. Skin color was noticed, but wasn't the primary organizing category of human difference. And this is late 17th century is when white, as a legal and social racial category, begins to solidify, particularly in what colonial America. Virginia's slave codes from 1670s to 90s are among the earliest legal documents to use white as a form of category, distinguishing free people from enslaved ones, right? And then it goes into the word Caucasian with Johann F. Blumenbach, who divided humanity into five races, right? And then, slapped white on the Caucasians, So these things are important, and when it started is also important to know, because it started really and truly when the slave trade started, when our people started being put into captivity, to suffer under the curses of Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 68. All right, that's when it really started to take off, this identity of being white and pure. Right, so let's get a precept. This is Isaiah 25, verse 7. And he will destroy in this mountain the face of the covering cast over all people and the veil that is spread over all nations. So all these things are being exposed. I just watched a video with the Ella brother Ariella, going into a talk show host who is also going into an interview that Tucker Carlson did with the U.S. ambassador to Israel, showing that, exposing the people in the land right now, the small huts, that they're not the Israelites, that they have no claim to the land. You understand? So so many things are happening to expose, the wickedness. There's the epiphiles, that are also, revealing, the wickedness of this man. So many different examples, of people seeing the atrocity that this man is bringing to the fore. I believe it's I forgot whose video I was watching, if it was Apostle Tahar video or somebody else, where this youngster, was saying, "Have you noticed that all the wickedness and evil in the world are perpetrated by white people?" You know, even the common people in the world, are noticing that these people are the villains. These people are the ones who are, corrupt. These people are the ones who are wicked. They're the ones starting the wars. They are the ones, oppressing people, right? Jeremiah 49 and verse 10, but I have made Esau bare and have uncovered his secret places. He shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not. So another thing that's happening, not just the revealing, of the so-called white man as, the perpetrator of evil in the world, but also his true identity of not being white, but also being an Edomite, right? And people tying that then to his judgment to say, oh, if he's the Edomite, then this is his judgment according to scripture. He's gonna be destroyed. He's gonna be judged. He's gonna be wiped out, right? So me jump to verse 12. It says, "For thus saith the Lord God, right, behold, whose judgment was not to drink of the cup of a surely drunken." That's the Israelites. You so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans and our people scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. It says, and art thou he that shall altogether go unpunished? Thou shalt not go unpunished, right? But thou shalt surely drink of it. For I have sworn by myself, saith the Lord, that Bozrah shall become a desolation, a reproach, a waste, and a curse, and all the cities thereof shall be a perpetual waste. I have heard a rumor from the Lord, an ambassador is sent unto the heathen, saying, gather ye together and come against her, rise up in battle, for lo, I will make thee small among the heathen and despised among men. And you're seeing that right now. And that starts really and truly with the small hutters, Amalek. Amalek is right now is being despised, among the nations. The small hatters, even their own people, other Edomites are despising them. You understand? Even some, Jewish people who are not, Zionists, they hate to be um associated with them, right? It says, thy terribleness has deceived thee, and the pride of thine heart, O that dwelleth in the clefts of the rock, that hold the height up the hill, though thou make thy nest as high as the eagle, right? I will bring thee down from thence, saith the Lord, and Esau shall be a desolation, for everyone that goeth by it shall be astonished and shall hiss at the plagues thereof. So this revealing is happening, the idea that you're white and without reproach and pure and morally good by default is being that illusion is being shattered, right? And that starts with the word and the ministry of the prophets, right? Second Thessalonians 2 verse 3, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and the man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. That's what's happening now. He's being revealed, right? Whoso who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God or that is worshipped, so that he, as God, sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. Remember ye not that when I was with you, I told you these things, and now ye know what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in his time. For the mystery of iniquity just already worked, yeah, right? It was working back then, 2,000 years ago, in the form of the Roman Empire, right? And it's working today in the revival of the Roman Empire, right? And then shall that wicked, be revealed. The young man, said in the video, right? It's the white man that's doing all the wickedness in the world, right? I realize it now, right? Whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and that's through the ministry of the prophets, right? To the truth coming out, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders. Yeah, and you know what these lying wonders is? His witchcraft and his technology, right? That's gonna deceive a lot of people. And for this cause, God shall, it says, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the law of truth, that they might be saved. And for this cause, God shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie, that they all might be damned, who believe not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. And that's the wicked among our people who are numbered to the sword, who will be deceived into taking the mark of the beast, which is the RFID microchip, by the same lying wonders, that the wicked is going to perform. So hopefully this lesson was edifying. Until next time, shalom.